I'm Michael Steele in for Joy Reid, and we begin tonight with a look ahead to day one of Trump 2.0. The Biden administration is in its waning days, and in just 3 days, Donald Trump will be inaugurated as the 47th president. Although the weather in the nation's capital has put a chill on the pomp and circumstance Trump was hoping for. Today it was announced that the swearing in will be moved indoors because of expected low temperatures, which means that Trump will now take the oath of office from inside the Capitol Rotunda, the exact location where just 4 years ago a violent mob of Trump supporters clashed with Capitol Police. Now, despite the small change, one big thing will stay the same. At the stroke of noon Monday, the administration of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris will end, and the era of Donald Trump, 2.0, will begin. On the campaign trail, Trump made a lot of promises about what he'll do on day one.
On day one, I will launch the largest deportation program in American history. When I win, I will immediately bring prices down starting on day one.
You promised to end birthright citizenship on day one. Is that still your plan?
Yeah, absolutely. He says, "You're not going to be a dictator, are you?" I said, no, other than day one. We're closing the border, and we're drilling.
Living for day one. But the one area he's made clear he plans to make good on his promises is his immigration crackdown. His team has prepared a flood of executive orders starting day one, aimed at launching the process of resurrecting policies from his first term and shredding Biden administration immigration policy. Many of the executive orders will address his day one MAGA promises from his presidential campaign, including closing the southern border, terminating all Biden border policies, reinstating the travel ban from his first term, beginning a mass deportation program, and ending birthright citizenship. Now, to that end, folks, today, Trump's choice for Homeland Security Secretary, South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem, faced senators for her confirmation hearing. But one thing she wasn't very clear on is who will be calling the shots on border security. Noem, or Trump's so-called border czar, Tom Homan, who Trump has said will be in charge of the border. And as promised, deportations will begin, you guessed it, on day one.
Tom and I work very well together and talk and communicate all the time, and we'll be working together on a daily basis when we're in our positions under the new administration. And I would say there's no authorities being planned to be taken away from the department or myself if I'm in the role, and we'll continue to oversee
signals. You can understand how people in my home state, maybe around the country, when they hear Mr. Holman saying, "I'm making the decisions," when they hear President-elect Trump say he's in charge of our border.
Joining me now is Melissa Murray, NYU law professor, MSNBC legal analyst, and co-host of the Strict Scrutiny podcast. Tara Setmayer, former Republican communications director and co-founder and CEO of the Seneca Project. And Maria Hinojosa, Pulitzer Prize winning journalist and founder of Futuro Media. Welcome, all three ladies. Melissa, day one, it's going to be a hell of a day. How do you see this unfolding as all of the pomp and circumstances occurring in the Capitol, down at the White House, those executive orders, particularly around immigration, are going to be set up and ready for the president, the new president, to sign? What does that say in terms of the priority for this administration, and what should the American people expect from this day one explosion of executive orders?
Well, thanks for having me, Michael. I think we should take Donald Trump at his word. He's made clear that he plans to use executive authority to get things done on day one. And thanks to the United States Supreme Court, that executive authority is probably broader than it's ever been in the history of the American presidency. So there's a lot of room to work here with. He's already said that he's going to launch the largest mass deportation in the history of this country. That conflicts a little bit with some of the rhetoric from his campaign, where he talked about deporting first those with criminal records. It doesn't really match up on the number of individuals who have criminal records who are eligible to be deported. Does not add up to the largest mass deportation in history. So that means you're going to have to find additional people if this is, in fact, going to be a massive and sweeping effort. And I think the way that happens is we begin to think differently about what constitutes criminal activity relative to those who are here undocumented or unlawfully. And I think just the fact of crossing the border without the necessary papers is a misdemeanor offense. But I think they could think about that as a crime, expand the number of individuals who are here criminally, and again, think about those deportations. All of this will require procedural hurdles. There are lots of procedural checks in place, even for deporting those who have criminal records. So this isn't going to be an immediate thing, but I think we're going to see the mechanisms move quite quickly. I also imagine that there will be some efforts to roll back in plans that were put in place by the Biden administration, certainly on energy. The Biden electric vehicle mandate will be rolled back. There will be more drilling. It's all going to be a flurry, and again, all done through executive orders principally.
You know, Tara, it's the shock and awe of it all. You know, it is the blatant pushing out of a lot of information, sort of setting the stage narratively, if nothing else. You've got this incredible list of some of Trump's day one MAGA promises, ending the war in Ukraine, pardon Jan 6 defendants, drill, cancel the electric vehicle mandate, implement 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada, and then we grab Canada and make it the 51st state, bring down the grocery prices, which Trump has now admitted, oh, I don't know if I can do that, close the border, end Biden-era border policies, reinstate travel ban, I mean, end DEI policies, ban transgender women from women's sports, end gender-affirming care practices. Day one. What's your assessment of day one as we get ready for Monday?
Well, people need to be prepared. I mean, I think that this country is about to wake up to a Mike Tyson level left hook of reality come 12/01 January 20th. You know, we've been trying to warn folks about this. We tried during the election. We tried. I think that there was a certain failure of being able to communicate this in a way that made people understand what was at stake for them, why it mattered. I think it's become increasingly more clear that this election was really not about the price of eggs, because a lot of these things that Donald Trump in that list right there, was there anything that was going to help the economic situation for Americans in any of those things that was listed, the day one priorities? No, not one, because this wasn't about the price of eggs. And for us at the Seneca Project, we just put out an ad today called Get Ready, because people need to get ready in this country. There are tens of millions of folks who did not vote for this, who are looking for leadership, who are looking for what to do, how to galvanize, how to organize, because we have to fight back. Every single one of us plays a role here. Bobby Kennedy said that tiny ripples of hope can create a current that can take down mountains of oppression. That's what we are facing, and that's what we're going to have to do. This country has faced all kinds of issues in the past, whether it was the abolitionist movement, whether it was the civil rights movement, the suffragist movement for women. And great to hear about the ERA today. Thank you, President Biden. But all of those movements didn't happen overnight, and they were all incredibly challenging. And it took the righteous anger of the American people to fight back against the government in ways that was oppressing basic civil rights in this country across the board. So we're about to head into an era in this country that we have not seen before, because the institutions aren't going to save us. The Supreme Court's not going to save us. No one's going to save us but us. And that is something I think the American people are going to find out very quickly, that Donald Trump doesn't give a damn about them or the Constitution or the rule of law. He cares about himself. He cares about enriching further himself and his billionaire cronies. And that is not going to do anything to help any normal, regular, everyday folks who voted for him thinking the price of eggs were going to come down. Yeah, good luck. Let's see how all those things impact that. It's not going to. They're going to have a wake-up call.
Maria, both Melissa and Tara really speak to, at the core, what Joe Biden himself sort of leveled up in his farewell address to the nation. Let's take a listen to his interview with Lawrence O'Donnell regarding his concerns about our democracy.
I really am concerned about how fragile democracy is. I guess what I'm worried about is that the thing that keeps it on track are the guardrails. There's a Supreme Court that's independent, but accountable. There is a Congress that you speak your mind, but you're held accountable to basic standards. There's a presidency that says you have really limited powers. I mean, you're the top dog, but you're not. You can't dictate everything. And I don't know. We just seem to be chipping away at all those elements.